All right, welcome everybody to the Health Transformation webinar. This is your host, Cade Archibald, and really excited to be with you guys today and jump into some really rad stuff on peptides. We've been having a lot of fun with peptides the last couple of weeks, and we're going to continue that. Today, I'm diving into more aesthetic type peptides. So I think we got some really cool stuff. We got with us today, as usual, but not to be downplayed as normal, is Regan Archibald. Regan, how you doing?
Good. Thanks for not making me normal. That makes me feel very unnormal.
All right. Well, let's dive in here. I think everyone's really excited to learn about more about these peptides and what they are able to do. I think this is one that's really intriguing for me. I have not tried it yet, and I'd love to figure it out.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about a couple. I'll talk about one of my favorites is the GHK copper. But if you look at peptides, we've been talking about this a lot, and appreciate all you that are joining us for this conversation. But we're going to talk about some of the things you can do to protect your skin, protect your hair. And it's really interesting because if you look at your body, of course, healing comes from the inside out. I've never wanted to have a clinic where all we did was cosmetic stuff. It's just not interesting to me. But what I do want to do is I want people to love the way they feel about their health. And it's really tough to love the way you feel about your health if you're looking in the mirror and you're just like picking apart your hair, your hairline receding, or if you're a woman, you're thinning hair, or maybe the wrinkles in your face. And so today, what I'm going to present to you is some very novel approaches to really transforming the way you look. And maybe you could shave off 5-10 years. And in this image, you can see, some of the things we're using currently are, we use acupuncture for facelifts, and usually we'll couple that with a PRP, like a vampire type facelift. We use stem cells for facelifts, and that has just been phenomenal. You can even do a stem cell IV, and we see patients look 10 years younger after they get the IV. Very simple ways. So as we go through this, if you think about it, what are one of the most common treatments that people are getting is Botox, Cade? And what does Botox actually do to the muscles in the face?
Botox is a neurotoxin, and it is just like paralyzing the function of your muscles. So they're just tight. They don't do anything.
Yeah, you get Botox in your forehead and you try to raise your eyebrows like that, they ain't going anywhere. They're just stuck. And so one of the complaints that a lot of people have about Botox is it's harder to communicate because so much of communication is with your eyes. And if you've got, your Botoxed up, it's like, yeah, you won't be able to create the wrinkles in your face, but you're also not going to look as human. And so, so it's like, well, maybe there's a better way. And so there are Botox-like peptides. And what Botox does is it decreases the amount of muscle activity by blocking acetylcholine. And so Botox can be used. It can be a phenomenal medical treatment. But what it is it's a botulism toxin. And so like Cade said, it is a neurotoxin, which means it basically stops the nerves from getting all the fuel they need to cause muscles to contract. And so it's very interesting that if you can look at it, well, maybe there's a way that it's a non-toxic anti-wrinkle therapy, and that's where these peptides come in. So one of the primary peptides you can use for wrinkles is called arginine. And arginine, once again, it's just a protein structure. And these protein structures, similar to Botox, all they do is they work at diminishing some of the acetylcholine, but they don't completely shut it down. And so you can still get some of that nice boost in your face. But what they found in the studies is they found that women using arginine as a topical cream for 4 weeks, twice a day, the women saw a 48% improvement of fine line and wrinkles in the eye area. 48% improvement in just 4 weeks. So easy to use. Here's a clinical study that was published in the Journal of Cosmetic Science they reported that this peptide, peptide, arginine, what they found is that it used at 10% concentration. They found that it reduces the depths of the wrinkles up to 30% after 30 days of use. And so, as you can see here, just getting 30% of the depth of wrinkles gone in 30 days, that's substantial. That is literally going to take years off of your life. But the most important thing is it allows your skin and allows your muscles to breathe more without using Botox. There's another peptide called SNAP8, and it reduces neural excitability and therefore decreases muscle contractions. And in some studies, they found it could decrease the wrinkle depth by up to 63% in 4 weeks. So phenomenal.
Wow, that's awesome.
Crazy, isn't it, Cade? So you got a super wrinkly face, and so we need to get you on some SNAP8.
I need some SNAP8 in my forehead.
Yeah, interesting thing is when you get the lines on the forehead, you've seen some people with very deep lines. Almost every person that I've worked with clinically in Chinese medicine, that relates to your stomach. And so a lot of people who have stomach issues will end up getting the really, defined lines in their forehead. And so
I got a theory on that. Can I share it?
Yeah, please.
If your stomach hurts, you go like this a lot.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. You're gonna really that's stomach pain. So it fits.
My theory.
I like your theory. Lufazole. Here's another one. Lufazole also modulates acetylcholine activity, and it also helps stabilize catecholamine release. And so once again, this could be another alternative to using arginine and SNAP8. But the arginine and SNAP8 have some of the most studies behind them. And so what tailor-made compounding does, the pharmacy that we work with, is they have been able to put the lufazole and arginine together. And so what they found is it creates a synergistic effect. So for 28 days, you can use this. And what they found in the study is that there was a 24.62% wrinkle reduction. Because both of these are complementary peptides, they also found that a minimum of 60 days was the ideal time period where you could reduce your wrinkles by 50%. So there's a lot of different things you can use for the face. There are things you can use for the face and the hair, and this is what I've been experimenting with lately, and it's this new peptide. It's called GHK copper. And so this is an interesting peptide because what we're finding with GHK copper is it can, for those of us, who are producing too much DHT, which is an androgen hormone, it causes the hair follicles to shrink and then eventually go away. And, I look at guys my age in their 40s and I'm like, man, so many of them are going bald. And I look at some of them and I'm like, well, some of it might be, related to genetics, but I also see that actually maybe some of it's related to hormonal production. And so this is very interesting because not only do I have men that come in and they're concerned about hair loss, but I also have women that come in. And so one of the easiest ways you can get your hair to regrow is by using this GHK copper peptide. And what the GHK copper peptide does is it takes these dormant miniature-sized hair follicles and it actually helps moisturize them and helps bring nutrients into that follicle, and it blocks the DHT. And when you block the DHT, then what happens is these copper peptides create a size increase in the hair thickness and also help the hair follicle, so it's got oxygenation there. So very interesting. I mean, one of the things we'll do if you've lost a substantial amount of hair, then what we would do is we would do our scalp rejuvenation treatment where we inject PRP and stem cells into about 8 main areas in the scalp. If that's where you've lost the hair, if it's thinning everywhere, we'll go all through the entire head. And that can be a way of boosting the hair growth. And then we use the copper peptides to stimulate the hair follicle growth. And
is this a cream, Regan?
It's a cream. Yep. You can use it as a cream, or you can actually use it sublingually. And I've got my sublingual tablets here with me somewhere. I'll grab them. Actually got an image of it too.
Very cool. So yeah, so I would imagine this is great treatment if you're just noticing your hair starting to thin.
Yep.
If you're already like quite lost a significant amount of hair, that's when you got to do the hair rejuvenation.
Yep. Yep.
And then add in the copper.
Exactly. Yeah. So you can take them sublingual. And what they found is that the efficiency of these copper peptides, it was similar to the minoxidil, which is a very common acid that we put on our hair to stop the DHT and regrow the hair follicles. So the GHK copper, it's one of the most cosmetic, most popular cosmetic slides. It works on wounds. It attracts immune cells. So you can use this not just for, your face. It's really good at protecting the skin because it does stimulate stem cells, which we'll get into in a minute. But it also can be used if you have a muscle tear like an ACL and MCL. And Ryan Smith, one of the founders of TaylorMade Compounding, just an innovative pharmacy that produces these peptides, he actually has shown that the copper peptides actually can help heal meniscal tears. And so what we're doing now is if you've got some type of, like a MCL, ACL injury, meniscal tear, we'll do some type of regenerative medicine, PRP, we'll do stem cell therapy on the knee, and then we'll use this, the GHK copper as a cream. And so very interesting. On the skin, they found that studies show about a 36% decrease in the wrinkle thickness. So very powerful. So here's the stem cell slide. This in 2009, there's a group of researchers from Seoul, Korea, National University of Seoul, Korea, Republic of Korea. They demonstrated that copper peptide GHK stimulated proliferation of keratinocytes and increased the expression of integrins and P63 protein in the epidermal stem cells. Since P63 is considered to be an important marker of stem cell and anti-senescent protein. Senescence is when the cell lineage dies off. The authors concluded that GHK copper is able to retrieve the proliferative potential of epidermal stem cells and increase their ability to repair tissue. So here's some studies that was done as far back as 2009. And so very interesting. Hey, Dr. Palvia. Good to see you. We got Dr. Palvia on here, one of the regenerative pain specialists in the world from Brooklyn, New York, is joining us on the Instagram world. So welcome. So pretty interesting. If you're looking at really enhancing skin is the GHK copper. And so this copper, you can take it orally, and then some of this will get to the connective tissue and help the skin and the keratinocytes, which are the cells that make up a lot of the skin. But the other great thing is you can put it on topically, and that topical application is phenomenal. And so I've been using it topically. I just got it like 2 days ago, but I did take a before picture and then I'll do an after picture for you guys. So if you guys are wondering, if you're saying, well, what else does this amazing peptide do? Because yes, we found it to be very safe. But one of the things that's found is it does affect 32% of your genes. And so copper being a critical mineral in your day-to-day life, it balances hormones when used in the right dosage. It needs to be used with zinc. Copper is just an activator, but some of the things that these peptides can do when you've got the protein structures with it, it's improving cell-to-cell communication. And so some of the studies show that it does increase growth factor secretion. It helps with skin remodeling. So in 6 placebo-controlled studies on over 270 subjects, what they found is it increases keratinocyte proliferation. It improves appearance, firmness, elasticity, and skin thickness. It improves wrinkles. It helps with hyperpigmentation. and photo damage. We need to get that. We got to get this for our family members. I've been using it on this hyperpigmentation on this area of my skin. So hopefully that will go away. My wife tried to get me on some of the chemicals from her her esthetician. I was like, no way, I'm not taking that. So, because it goes right into your body. So you want to put something healthy on your skin, but you also want it to work. It increases skin collagen. It tightens protective skin barrier proteins and improves skin clarity. Wounds. What they found is that it helps with surgical wounds, burn wounds, ischemic wounds, wound chambers. It can help with, you can use it on animals like your dog's paws. If your dog's, Cade, you're in St. George. So in the summer, if your dogs burn their paws walking on hot, you can put it right on them.
Great. So it's all cream based. Is there any GHK that's injectable, or I guess you got the tablet?
You got oral and you got
cream.
I don't know if TaylorMade makes an injectable. I'd have to look in their catalog, but yeah, this would all be topical.
So any concern of, so when you say copper, I think of like that could also be seen as a heavy metal that could be toxic if overdosed. So is there any instances where someone could overuse this?
Well, I think with peptides, if you look at some of the research, peptides in general tend to be very safe, very well tolerated. This peptide, when Ryan Smith was presenting on it, he said the mistake most people make is they think that more is better, and so they go beyond the recommended dose. He said there hasn't been a lethal dose that's ever been established with it. So because these are peptides that
very small molecules
that can get flushed out of your body pretty rapidly. It ends up being a very safe. And this is why peptides are so phenomenal. They're just unstable. Like the peptide chains can become denatured pretty quickly if they're exposed to the elements, which is why a lot of the pharmaceutical companies, they departed from the peptide. They did all the research and then kind of gave the research away because they said, man, we can't make money on the peptides because they're such an unstable molecule that we need a longer shelf life. But yeah, when the pharmaceutical companies were doing it, man, the amount of safety, the profile is just massive with it.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So great. Great question as far as safety goes. The GHK copper has been found to enlarge hair follicles, increases hair growth. It helps with hair transplants. It reduces chemotherapeutic hair loss in some of the studies, increases recovery after chemotherapy. These were all done in animal studies, so that does not always translate into human studies. It increases stem cell production. That's been done in a cell culture. It blocks UV damage to skin cells. So maybe try some GHK copper instead of applying all the crazy sunscreen that we put ourselves on, and we mitigate any vitamin D that we can, synthesize. The copper peptides, it helps with COPD and pulmonary diseases. So it shuts down some of the destructive genes that can, promote the COPD with lung issues. Restores normal collagen development, and it helps activate the TGF-beta repair pathway. So great for the lungs. It's great for cancer. Turns on programmed cell death. It inhibits cell replication, induces growth controlling gene expression. GHK plus ascorbic acid, which is vitamin C, suppresses cancer. It's great for the stomach lining. So for those of you who are on omeprazole or Tagment, one of these beta blockers or acid blockers in your stomach, or a proton pump inhibitor, maybe try some GHK. There's some really interesting studies that show that it can help prevent not only ulcers, but also can be great for acid reflux. It helps with intestinal repair. They found that it blocks duodenal ulcer development. It heals intestinal ulcers, and also it can be used in Crohn's disease. And they found that the GHK copper peptide can help heal ulcers in a human study with Crohn's disease. And so the other thing it does is it helps with bone repairs. Some of the studies found that it produced a vivid osteogenic activity at the interface of the trabecular bone and metal stem. So if you happen to get a hip replacement, this could be a very powerful adjunct therapy that you could be using. It's liver protective, and so they found that it blocks some of the hepatic genes that can destroy and cause liver cirrhosis. It helps with injury recovery, and it's also has anti-pain and anti-anxiety effects. So this is GHK copper. What do you think about that, Cade? That was a long list.
Wow.
Huge, right?
Impressive. Yeah. Really cool.
And the final thing, which is one of the studies they did, is they found it increases self-confidence in human cage fighters. So
nice.
So
I'm assuming
don't know
that's
how
like
you would,
UFC fighters, like
human fighters. I mean, I don't know how you would
fighters. That's intense.
How would you quantify that? I mean, it's like, okay, what's your confidence levels now? And okay, now we put copper, maybe they, applied it to their hair. I don't know. I mean, that would be, but some fascinating studies on it. Here's some other things just to drive home the point that there are safe alternatives out there that actually have clinical research behind it, very fascinating ways of influencing. Not only, I know a lot of you on this have had stem cell therapy, so this is a great adjunct to your stem cell therapy, but it also can be used individually and very powerful. So one of the things that GH copper works for is nerve regeneration. In 2005, they found that GHK promotes nerve regeneration. Axon regeneration was studied using collagen tubes and incorporated peptides. GHK increased the production of nerve growth factors, the expression of integrins, and increased the rate of regeneration of myelinated nerve fibers. So that's huge. Other studies found with human fibroblasts, recent studies have revealed many new aspects of the GHK copper. They established it's able to restore function at human fibroblasts damaged by a radiation treatment, thus accelerated healing and regenerative properties. So this is really good for your muscles and your skeletal system. They found with wound healing and skin repair, it involves inflammation and migration and dermal matrix remodeling. And so excessive inflammation may delay healing, but using the GHK copper, they found that it reduced TNF alpha, and it also reduced the secretion of pro-inflammatory cytokine IL-6. So very powerful in skin repair. And then finally, they found with DNA repair that the GHK was able to restore the viability of irradiated fibroblasts. And so the researchers used cultured human fibroblasts obtained from the cervical skin that was either intact or exposed to radioactive treatment. And they found that not only they used it, they found that radiation that damaged the DNA, and GHK was able to restore the function of the irradiated fibroblasts, and it also had effects on DNA repair. So all in all, phenomenal peptide that you can use for hairs, for skin, for joint remodeling. Just one of the most powerful peptides that we're using, and it's gaining a lot of popularity here. So give us a call today and see if this would be a good option for you in your life. So
love it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Regan. Hopefully you guys got some really, really cool stuff out of today. I know I did. We got some I got a whole nother pile of peptides I got to try now.
Yep.
Really exciting stuff. We'll be back same time, same place next week. For those of you registered for the St. George retreat this Friday,
okay,
come ready to rock and have some good times. And we got that going on. If you don't have a seat, you're interested, I think we do have one more seat left. So reach out to us at our St. George office. All right. We'll see you guys.
Cool.
Have a great one.
Awesome. Bye, guys.